Hey you.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yes?
Are you a bronze?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know, I just started playing.
So that means you're a bronze.
I guess so.
You wanna get good at Rocket League?
Yeah, I wanna get good.
Like this guy?
Yeah.
Or this guy?
Yeah.
Then watch this video and you'll have all the knowledge you need to set you on your path to becoming one of these guys.
Yeah.
Right, enough of that shit. Rocket League just went free to play, and with it came a lot of you guys that are hopefully watching this video. My name's Veeds, and I'm going to be revealing to you over 50 tips that will help you early on in your career to achieving greatness later down the line. Now that you've had a few days to get down the base controls, the next X amount of minutes, because I don't know how long this video is actually going to be, should give you all the info you could possibly need. But before we get into this, I'm happy to announce that I'm now coaching over on Gamers Ready. So if you'd like to book some one-to-one coaching sessions with me to help up your Rocket League game, head on down to the link at the top of the description. With that said, let's get into this thing. I don't care if you've never played a game of Rocket League in your life. If there's one setting I implore you to never use, it's camera shake. Rocket League is a game in which awareness and precision are key factors, and when your screen shakes on every touch, it makes it so much harder to be precise and aware of what's actually going on. Not to mention it's genuinely just off-putting to play with turned on. The second most important setting to change when getting into Rocket League is your FOV or field of view. It might seem like a big leap, but crank that shit to the max of 110 degrees. Increasing your vision and enabling yourself to be able to see more of the arena at all times is massive in this game. There's no minimap or radar, there's no arrows showing you where everyone is, so you have to rely purely on your vision. Well, and a little bit of sound of course, but that's besides the point. One of the most stupid things I've ever seen in this game was just before it went free to play. Psyonix changed the default binding of arrow from square or X to L2 or LT depending on your controller input. Go ahead and revert that by following the steps shown on screen. Once done, you now have true default bindings back. Down the road you'll inevitably change them, but I wouldn't recommend doing that until you have quite a bit of time played and understand exactly why you're doing so. Although PC gaming is far superior to console gaming, some graphics settings in Rocket League are just better left turned off, as your screen can suddenly become saturated with lighting effects and blurriness. I was going to cover Rocket League terminology next, but it would take quite a while, so I'm going to release a video specifically dedicated to that soon, so stay tuned. If there's one thing low-level players often get stuck with, it's getting used to using ball cam. Because their car isn't always facing forwards, it's confusing to them, but seriously guys, you have to get used to using ball cam like 95% of the time. I only really turn ball cam off for some of the very few specific things listed on screen now. And speaking of cameras, let's talk about camera settings. I often see lower ranked players using the most abysmal camera settings, and it's simply because they don't understand the negatives to using them. If you want good camera settings, you only really have to look at very high level players. There are a few exceptions, but for the most part they will usually look something like this, and if yours look nothing like this, you may want to change them. But ultimately, use what settings make you comfortable. If you go into the play menu, and you'll see this arenas tab, you can actually like and dislike arenas depending on your personal preference. I do believe however that over 50% of people in the lobby need to have an arena disliked for it not to show up. If you're not in the mood to grind ranked but still have the hunger to improve, free play is your best friend. I have around 5,000 to 6,000 hours in this game, and around 500 to 1,000 of them are in free play. Spend your time studying. If you're just not in the mood to play at all, even in free play, you should spend your time watching YouTube videos like this one, or dedicated tutorials for specific topics. It'll help you improve so much faster. But if you want to take it one step further, watch some RLCS or freestyling to see where the current skill ceiling is at and where you could be aiming for. But back to free play we go. It's easy to hop into free play and not really do much that's going to help. A lot of players don't know what to focus on, so I'm going to give you 2 drills that work for me. The first of which is to ball chase. Push yourself to recover and hit the ball with every first touch no matter what. You want to chain together as many hits as possible without missing. If you lose or miss the ball, then take control and start ball chasing again. This encourages you to learn how to adapt to bounces, recover and actually play way faster, improving your overall consistency. The second drill in free play is trying to push yourself to see how well you can dribble the ball on the ground by staying as close to the ball as possible. Once comfortable with this, try carrying the ball on top of your car. And again, only when comfortable, try and in your carry with a flick. The aim of this trio of dribbling drills isn't to play fast like my first free play tip. It's more to gain a sense of pure control over the ball. An alternative to ending the carry with the flick is to simply try not to end your carry, trying to maintain control over the ball for as long as possible. Now I will say that this will take time, this isn't something that you can just pick up and do immediately, so you have to have patience for this. It's okay me telling you to dribble, but without knowing how to, then my tip is pointless. In order to pick up the ball, when you enter free play, simply slowly drive up behind the ball, and when close enough, accelerate into the ball, and once it's on your roof, slow down to allow you and the ball to maintain the same speed as each other. Catching the ball is a little bit more advanced, but it's a simple concept. When the ball is in the air, as long as you're driving underneath the ball, you can cushion it as it drops down on top of your car, allowing you to transition into an immediate dribble or flick. How to carry the ball. Again, this is a more advanced form of dribbling, but again, it's a simple concept that requires some practice to master. You want the centre of gravity of the ball to be positioned centrally on your car's hitbox. Octane is usually the go-to car for dribbling, and if you also use this, in order to carry the ball you want the centre of the ball to be placed roughly here on the exposed part of the engine. If you feel yourself dropping the ball in front of your car, speed up or boost a little to get the ball back under control. The same goes for if you start to feel it rolling off the back of your car. Slow down and let the ball catch you back up. If you struggle to see success in free play, it might be because you're not ready to train yourself essentially. So my advice is to hop into some beginner friendly custom training packs. These packs are always focused on a specific part of the game, so if you want to improve your aerials, shooting, dribbling, defense, speed, recovery, etc., there's a training pack for you. After your initial jump, you only have 1.5 seconds to use your second jump. Waiting too long will actually make you lose your second jump, until all 4 of your wheels land on any surface or the ball, resulting in you getting your first jump back. There's 2 things that I'm going to list in this. The first is, do not hold boost when trying to turn, otherwise you'll have an extremely wide turn radius, and this is something I see a lot of lower level players doing, resulting in them completely missing the ball. The second is, don't jump on your turn unless it's absolutely calculated, otherwise you'll fly off to the side for literally no reason. There are other things to focus on when learning how to turn properly, but I think these are the 2 key ones for brand new players. This is such a simple one, but if you see these trails coming from your wheels, it means you're supersonic, aka travelling at maximum speed. Whilst supersonic, you can maintain maximum speed without needing to boost if you stay in a straight line. Super important for boost management. If you go supersonic and remain in a straight line, as long as you continue accelerating, you can stop boosting and you will remain supersonic until you slow down by turning, crashing, bumping, driving up the wall, etc. Small boost pads giving only 12 boosts might not seem like much, but every little bit of boost in Rocket League matters. You don't want to take yourself way out of position by going for large boost when there's 3 or 4 small boost pads around you. Pick them up instead, and before you know it you'll have half your meter full, whereas if you go all the way downfield to grab that 100, you're going to use half of it just by getting back into the play more often than not. Speaking of boost pads, every standard arena in Rocket League has its boost pads located in the exact same places. Learn where they are and it'll help you out tremendously as you find yourself getting into tougher and tougher lobbies by ranking up. Each arena actually has different floor markings. so try not to focus on them when learning the boost locations. To know what I mean by standard arenas, I mean each arena that has the regular shape. If you want to see a full list of these, head into Custom Game, Private Match, and change the mode to Heat Seeker. Now if you look through the maps you'll see each standard arena. When approaching the ball for a free shot, clearance, pass, etc., you want to make sure you're aware of your surroundings of course, but leading up to the point of contact, you need to be looking at the ball. Losing that focus can result in a mishit or accidental complete whiff. One v ones will tilt you, you'll find toxic opponents, and you'll struggle to win if you don't focus on some key elements. You need to be able to read your opponent's playstyle and adapt to counter it. But no matter how scary or tough ones may seem, it's your best friend in Rocket League as it is you that has to deal with every single scenario throughout the game. You don't have teammates to fall back on, and it makes you learn from your own mistakes the quickest, whether it's on kickoffs, defense, offense, reads, etc, etc. Play ones. However, you should also focus on 2v2 and 3v3 as they teach you things that you literally cannot learn in 1v1. For example, team rotations, passing, different types of kickoffs, having your eyes on multiple players at once, boost management, etc. Each mode teaches you unique things that others won't, and this will become more and more apparent the more you rank up. Three types of defense: aggressive, passive, and shadow. Aggressive defense is when you actively push towards the ball in the hope to catch your opponent off guard, or to simply act as a barrier by contesting a 50-50, or blocking the ball, etc. Depending on the situation, both parties can be in control. Passive defense is when you sit back away from the ball waiting to react to the ball coming your way. This can be done in front of goal, on the backboard, or even pushed upfield as the third man in threes, if your team is on offense. Usually the attacking party is in control with this. Shadow defense is when you stick somewhat close to your opponent, essentially mimicking or acting as their shadow as they push upfield towards your goal. This is great because it offers the best chances to cancel out their attacks, as your momentum and positioning are already in place for you to react as fast as possible to wherever they play the ball. Side note, you always want to shadow defend from the same side of the field or goal as your opponent. A great tip to know for when you can fly is that feathering or tapping your boost will often keep your momentum in the air, while allowing you to have more control throughout your flight and more boost left at the end of your flight. Once you're feeling a bit more confident, you have to start adding flips onto your kickoffs. Over time you'll get more and more comfortable and explore different types of flips, but for now doing simple front flips will help you win kickoffs. The reason for this is that it gets you to the ball much faster than just driving and boosting towards it. A bonus tip for this one is you don't want to boost all the way through your front flip. It actually slows the flip down and wastes boost at the same time. And speaking of kickoffs and wasting boost, you don't want to unnecessarily waste boost on your kickoff. You want to be looking to save at least 10 to 12 boost in order to get yourself right back into the action afterwards. Rocket League is all about angles. Every bounce of the ball should have a relatively true to physics angle when it leaves the surface. Even if you aren't able to make the read and actually hit the ball after it bounces off the wall, ceiling, floor, ramp or even other cars, simply watching and learning how the ball reacts and bounces will put you one step ahead of your opponents. This will take time, but seriously, focus on it. There are two meanings for the word rotation. The first is on-field rotation, aka coordination with your teammates. The second is car rotation, aka air roll and air steer. There are some amazing videos on rotation out there, so I'd recommend looking them up for a more in-depth tutorial. One thing I see lower level players doing is parking themselves on their own goal line, while their teammates are attacking in the opponent's half. There is literally zero reason to be doing this unless you feel like you're about to concede. Which, if the ball isn't even on your side of the field, then that is more than likely not going to happen. If you find yourself doing this, push upfield into a more attacking minded position, yet leaving yourself enough room to defend if needed. A side note on this is if you sit in goal, your teammates are less likely to rotate into a defensive position because they're going to see you sitting in goal, which means you're just going to be stuck there for most of the match. If you see your opponent is in a position where they're clearly going to beat you to the ball in the air, don't waste your boost by challenging a ball that you're going to get beaten to, but most importantly leaving your teammates with one less person in defence because you've taken yourself out of position. Instead, what you should do is rotate into a more defensive position based on where the ball will go after their touch. I know it's hard because it's so exciting getting into Rocket League, but please, please, please do not ball chase 24/7. Take time to breathe, take time to allow your teammates to have possession, have faith in your teammates challenging the ball, and simply reposition yourself to where you think the ball is most likely to come to you next. So a fast aerial is quite literally just a faster aerial. But it's not because you can fly faster, it's faster because your launch from the ground is getting you into the air further than a regular takeoff. Step 1. Jump. Step 2. Lean back and boost. Step 3. Jump again. An additional tip I have is if you find yourself backflipping a lot when trying a fast aerial, even when you feel comfortable with aerials, you might want to increase your dodge dead zone or lower your aerial sensitivity a little. A half flip is the fastest way to pull a 180-degree turn, meaning you can quickly transition from offense to defense and vice versa in an incredibly short amount of time. Half flips will become more and more useful in pretty much every situation as you get more comfortable with them. Step 1. Assign air roll left to L1 or LB. You can always change this down the road if you feel it isn't for you. Step 2. Flip cancel. To do this you want to perform your usual backflip, but this time you want to push your left stick upwards halfway through your flip, and you'll see yourself just kind of flop onto your back. Step 3. When cancelling the flip, hold L1 or LB, which is now air roll left, to bring your wheels back down facing the ground. And in these 3 simple steps you've just performed your first easy half flip. An additional tip I have for half flipping is to turn ball cam off when performing it, as it's easier to align your car properly and will help with getting that muscle memory down. One thing I see lower level players do is trying to flip into the ball when they simply don't need to, or when they're nowhere near the ball. You never want to hit the ball for the sake of hitting it, and that's what you're doing when you're flipping into it like this. The less control you have over your flip, the less control over the ball you have. I could literally make an entire tutorial on flipping into the ball, but for now, watch some of the ways in which I do and try to study the distance, technique and timing of each depending on the scenario. Whether I'm going for a shot, 50-50, clearance, etc. This is another more advanced technique, as half flipping was. But once you get comfortable flying, you should immediately try to get comfortable flying upside down, as this will drastically improve your overall car control. The key to this is understanding that your steering controls flip when going upside down. Although there are around 70 to 80 cars in Rocket League, there are currently only 6 different hitboxes in the game, and each car belongs to one of 6 said hitboxes. I was going to sit here and explain all of the different hitboxes, but because the rest of the script was written pre-free to play, I wasn't aware of new players only having the Breakout, Octane and Merc to begin with. So like I mentioned at the start with the terminology section, I'll do a separate video explaining the different hitboxes and which is the best for you, if it's something you'd like to see. And with that said, that about wraps it up for my complete guide to free-to-play Rocket League. I hope you all enjoyed and found some of the info useful. I've spent around 100 hours on this video, from thinking of all the different tips, scripting, editing, recording, finding all the visuals and all the gameplay to go with what I was saying, and I appreciate everyone that's made it to the end. So if you have, I don't normally ask for this, but if you like and subscribe and join my Discord for all the latest Rocket League info and to just hang out with me. And I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.